The peculiar case of Red Bull in the world of Formula One. While most teams are owned by car manufacturers, Red Bull stands out as the odd one out. But how on earth did a company selling a very sweet energy drink from Thailand decide to venture into a sport that demands an enormous amount of resources and expertise? Well, this is the odd story of Red Bull's rise to the top of Formula One. It all began in the summer of '82. Dietrich Mateschitz, an Austrian businessman, found himself on a business trip to Thailand, jet-lagged and in need of an energy boost. He stumbled upon a delightful little concoction called Krating Dang, which means Red Bull in Thai. Now, this wasn't just your average beverage. Oh no, my friends, this was a magical elixir packed with caffeine, taurine, and a secret blend of ingredients that could awaken even the sleepiest of souls. Our hero Dietrich took one sip of this ambrosia and felt a surge of energy like never before. Suddenly his eyes sparkled and a light bulb appeared above his head. Metaphorically, of course. He thought to himself, by Jove, I must share this with the world. And so, armed with a dream and a thirst for adventure, Dietrich joined forces with a fellow visionary, Jaleo Yudviha, the creator of Krating Dang. Together they embarked on a quest to bring this life-altering elixir to the masses. But first, they needed a catchy name. They considered rocket fuel and jet juice, but ultimately settled on the snazzy, straightforward Red Bull. A brand built on the ideas of someone that never got the credit for it. Where have I seen that before in the corporate world? Oh, that's right, everywhere! Mateschitz himself was a big fan of F1, and considering the death toll in the sport back in the day, maybe it's no surprise that he wanted Red Bull to embody the image of extreme sports and align with the physical and mental prowess of athletes in those domains. So, in 1989 he signed Austrian F1 driver Gerhard Berger as Red Bull's first sponsored athlete, drawing inspiration from the legendary Jochen Rindt. In the radical era of the 90s, extreme sports and mind-boggling stunts were somewhat commonplace in the world of advertising and branding. So in 1992, in Vienna, Red Bull, the energy drink that apparently thrives on insanity, decided to organize a little event called Flugtag. Contestants were tasked with constructing homemade gliders and launching themselves off a 30-foot high platform, desperately trying to outdo one another. I guess Red Bull really does give you wings. After sponsoring and launching a string of extreme sports events like Flugtag, Dietrich Mateschitz, fueled by his liquid speed concoction, finally decided to take the plunge into the world of racing in 1995. So Red Bull goes all in and strikes a 10-year deal as the title sponsor for the Sauber F1 team. It was a match made in racing heaven. Red Bull's vibrant logo and colours adorned the sleek Sauber cars, giving them an extra boost of energy and pizzazz. You know, things seemed to be going well for Red Bull at that point, but was investing hundreds of millions of dollars in an F1 team that wasn't guaranteed to make that money back to challenge for titles consistently a good decision? Well, I'll answer that question, but only if you're subscribed. Yeah, that's totally how videos work. So subscribe! The Sauber, powered by a Ford Zetec V8 engine, was piloted by drivers Heinz-Harald Frentzen and Jean-Christophe Bouillon. They fought their way through the 1995 season, managing a respectable midfield finish. Heinz snagged a 9th place in the Drivers' Championship, while the team secured a 7th place overall finish in the Constructors' Championship, which was actually quite impressive for them. For Red Bull, this was the first step into the Formula One world, and the plot thickens with the introduction of the Sith Lord himself, Dr. Helmut Marko, a former manager of Berger. Marko and Mateschitz wanted to honor their hero, the late Rindt, by leaving a lasting impression in Formula One. While Marko was busy cultivating the next generation of speedsters through his junior program, Mateschitz took over as the team's primary sponsor and majority owner. The passive role of sponsor and investor proved frustrating for Mateschitz. When Sauber chose to promote Kimi Räikkönen instead of Red Bull's top pick, Enric Bernoldi, Mateschitz was forced to face the music. He said, "You know what? F these guys, I'm getting my own team." Well, he didn't say that exactly, but probably something like that. So, when the financially troubled Jaguar F1 team was put up for sale for an insane, get this, $1 in November 2004, Mateschitz knew to thank his leprechauns. Without hesitation, he took advantage of the situation, recruited his friend Marko as an advisor, renamed the team Red Bull Racing, and injected tens of millions of dollars into the organization. It didn't take long for Red Bull Racing to start causing waves in Formula One. Soon after hiring the youthful and talented Christian Horner to lead the team, they achieved their first podium finish in 2006. The company, of course, valued the exposure and association with extreme sports, but their ultimate goal was to win championships. And who better to spearhead this effort than Helmut Marko, a man known to quietly nurture young drivers? Just ask Nick de Vries. Speaking of Nick de Vries, for those unlearned in the world of F1, it might surprise you to know that there is another Red Bull team called AlphaTauri that was initially called Toro Rosso. Yeah, not confusing at all. First, let me explain how Toro Rosso came into being in the first place. Red Bull GmbH swooped in like a caffeinated superhero and took control of Minardi when its owners put the team up for sale in 2006. Red Bull, as it turns out, had their own grand plans for the team, so they ditched the name Minardi and came up with Squadra Toro Rosso. Now, initially that meant Team Red Bull in Italian, but here's the twist. Squadra sounded too much like a football team, and we all know this ain't the World Cup of racing. So they quickly switched it up to Scuderia Toro Rosso. And just like that, a new name was born. Toro Rosso primarily served as a testing ground for Red Bull's promising junior drivers, a place where their skills could be scrutinized for potential promotion to the prestigious Red Bull racing team. Sure, their track record wasn't mind-blowing, with a modest 6th place finish in the Constructors' Championship and a few scattered highlights, like a win at Monza, but hey, they were a respectable presence in the competitive midfield, but easily overlooked in the grand scheme of things. After Seb's excellent F1 debut at Toro Rosso, he was promoted to the main Red Bull team not long after. This is really where things picked up for the Austrian outfit. Even Darth Marko himself knew they had a special talent on their hands. So from 2010 to 2013, the duo swept the sport and went on to dominate Formula 1, winning 4 successive championships. However, as regulation revisions in 2014 heralded the age of Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton's domination, Red Bull's championship hopes waned. In 2019, Toro Rosso transformed from a junior team to a sister team, sporting a brand new identity as AlphaTauri. With this facelift came a shift in objectives. While still serving as the feeder team for Red Bull Racing, AlphaTauri now moonlights as an ambassador for Red Bull's fashion brand. Yeah, I don't quite get how they thought a fashion brand aligned with their extreme sport, disruptive brand identity. 2021 rolled up and it was Red Bull's time to shine again when a certain Max Verstappen truly arrived, snatching Lewis Hamilton's crown in dramatic fashion. In 2022, he dominated yet again on his way to a title win. In 2023, well, no points for guessing who's on top. So, has Red Bull's big investment in Formula 1 paid off financially? Well, they are losing money. According to a 2018 report, they invested more than $2.3 billion in the sport in its first 14 years. While Red Bull contributes around 35% of the race team's annual income, around $160 million, after deducting excessive costs, they only managed to eke out a meager $10 million in profits. But hey, Mateschitz didn't get into racing for the money, he only wanted to increase the sales of his energy drink. From that vantage point, it has certainly been a very, very good deal. Experts say the degree of brand exposure Red Bull got between 2009 and 2014 would have cost $320 million each year. In principle, Red Bull obtained this exposure for half the cost, or about $160 million each year. Red Bull have always understood what they're about, from their very first sponsorships and events to their acquisitions of a Formula 1 team and even football clubs. They are consistent in their brand all across the board, a stroke of marketing genius. However, things haven't always gone swimmingly for the Austrian outfit. Their trusty sidekick, Honda, decided to bid farewell to Formula 1 at the end of 2021, just after giving Red Bull's Max Verstappen a taste of that sweet victory in the Formula 1 World Championship. But fear not, my fellow speed enthusiasts, for Red Bull isn't one to let a good engine slip through their fingers. They went ahead and created a brand spanking new company called Red Bull Powertrains to keep the engines roaring. They even managed to snag the Honda engine intellectual property, with a little assistance from their Japanese pals under a support agreement. Now, you're probably wondering what's going on in the caffeinated mind of Dietrich Mateschitz, the mastermind behind Red Bull. What more could he possibly want? Well, besides the obvious reasons like preserving their brand exposure and avoiding a financial meltdown, there's a bigger plan in motion. Mateschitz is no longer satisfied with just being the king of energy drinks. Oh no, he had grand visions of transforming Red Bull's sports teams into full-fledged independent business models. Wait a minute, Mateschitz had grand visions. Why doesn't he have grand visions anymore? Well, that might be because he passed away in 2022, which has certainly thrown Red Bull's eventual direction and AlphaTauri's future into uncertainty. Where the Austrian outfit goes from here, only time will tell. What do you think about Red Bull's model? Love it? Hate it? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to watch some of my other videos, like the one where I talk about Bin Laden sponsoring an F1 team. So, yeah, goodbye.